what's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video, and probably the first video I'm going to do going forward for strongman training. I figure separating it into a individual video will kind of help make it make sense to people, and then allow me to provide different tips and tricks I've found just doing this over the years, and can help provide guidance for anyone who's really trying to get into it. So you've seen some clips before though, but I think going forward, not in this video, I'm going to do more of a just kind of breaking down how I learned how to do the lifts, why I do them, and why I structure the way that I structure them. And it can be kind of hard to find information. There's just not a lot of people doing it, and I had the pleasure of meeting people that did, so I kind of just absorbed it myself, made some modifications that work for me, and I've been doing it I think for 3 years or now, so been getting better, stronger, like anything else. So you guys have seen the clean, you've seen the press, but what I'm going to do is add in a stone lift and then a farmer's carry, something that I feel, at least the farmer's carry, most people can emulate in their gym. Log, obviously, I mean, you could do barbell cleans and stuff like that, still a different movement, but I think I'm going to like break down little tips and stuff with like text and stuff on the side just to kind of explain how I set up for certain things. It looks a little weird if you're a traditional Oli lifter. Sometimes there's some carryover. But also, strongman lifting is more freestyle, where you can kind of just do whatever you need to do to get the weight moving. And obviously, I've never done Oli lifting. I'm not somebody you should go to for Oli lifting advice. The first time I've ever done a clean has been on a log, and because it makes it easier, the barrier of entry is a little bit lower, and it just has worked for me. So I just kept running with it and doing it. So I do this beltless just for mobility reasons. I can't really get down or generate as much speed off the ground when I'm wearing a belt, so I've just learned to just brace my core, and probably carried over to a lot of other lifts that I've done and made my core really strong. But ultimately, I mean, it's just consistency like everything else. It's just doing the movements, making little changes, adding weight where you can, tapering back when you need to. And that's kind of what I've done. When I first started doing the log clean, it was ugly, but I could do a decent amount of weight. The press obviously is a lot harder. It's just, you're pressing weight overhead. It's going to be a lot more difficult than doing a clean. So I've kind of worked on that, and I found that training the clean separately is more beneficial for me, and I enjoy it more. And then it allows me to like separate out that press where I can isolate it to wherever I need. So multiple angles here, and didn't go too heavy on these as we're tapering back, of course. And then just making sure I'm trying to be technical with my lifts here. You're going to kind of see where I pull from the ground. It's like almost like a deadlift in a row into my lap, and then the clean up, you're shooting your hips through. There's a hip rotation if you watch here where I drive your hips forward, and then I usually brace my core and try to catch it on my clavicle and the front rack position there. So obviously going to the press, it's a little bit different to get the weight up there, and then finding the balance. I do a push press. I was doing strict before, but I really wanted to learn the push press. I feel like I'm leaving a lot of poundage on the bar, so that's what I transitioned to. And I will use the belt on this. Doesn't impede because I'm not pressing that much on here, and then I can support my lower back. There were times when I was log pressing where I was, just overloading my lower back and basically, like straining and putting myself in a compromised position, so I wanted to eliminate that. So a little bit of a different form with the belt on. I tend to catch the log higher, and then with the belt I can brace into it, so a little bit more, less momentum essentially off the floor, and that's kind of how I've been training it so far. So the carryover with the log, with the clean, is I can get super strong at doing the clean, and then it's on me to put the press together and figure it out. So I'll figure it out eventually. Push press has been interesting to learn. There's just a weird disconnect between me pressing and my feet leaving the ground, so to speak. I have to build the confidence in that. But I will also take my time with the front rack position. I'll compose myself, and when I press, I really try to be as efficient as possible and not push the log away from me. It can happen though because of the way the handles are. There's just a lot of surface area that you can grip. But here's kind of like a good example of kind of what I'm doing. You'll see the press here. I'll kind of grip underneath, and I'll try to keep it as level as possible, and I'll recorrect my feet because I will clean wider than I press. So I'll bring my feet in, brace myself, and then try to press like I normally would, driving my head through. So Again, it's not rocket science, and you've seen me do it so many times. It's just habitual at this point, and you'll get better at it. I wanted to bring back the Atlas stone. I'm in the process of trying to fix that stone to steel just because I'm unsure of the weights of the concrete stones, and then also being able to plate load the stone to steel would make things better for progressive overload. So I literally just started this week with the smallest stone just to get my mind, right, to get the connection between picking it up again, to learn it again. I was in a nice groove about a year ago before someone, cracked our stone, and so they're hard to buy now in person or online. I don't think you can even find them for a reasonable price. They did like a liquidation sale, I think, on like Titan, and I don't think they produce them anymore. So either have to make your own Atlas stones with concrete, and then they take up space, or somebody can, personally weld together some sort of plate-loaded Atlas stone, which I'm sure somebody could do if you paid them enough, but I don't know anybody like that. So if you know anybody, let me know. Potentially, that would be useful for me. So I'm making estimates on these Atlas stones. I know the stone of steel is 175 pounds, and obviously with the diameter of the stone, you're exponentially increasing the weight on it because it's dense concrete. So I think our biggest one is 235. But again, just for standardization, because you can literally add plates to the opening of the Atlas stone there, or the stone of steel, and then you can really dial in exactly what you want to do. So this is a super, effective lift for everyday people. Just picking things up from the ground. Obviously, you can deadlift, but to pick up something that's shaped the way it is, teaches you stability, teaches you how to use your core and your back correctly. It's less textbook form than like a deadlift. Like you kind of have to maneuver around your body a little bit more, but once you get into a groove, it's actually kind of fun to do. You can really get a nice grip, get around it, and then obviously the wider you go on the stone, so like the stone of steel, a little bit easier to grip, but can make it a little bit more cumbersome to maneuver, especially around like your stomach and chest area to finish the extension on it. But I've really liked it. It makes you feel like you've done a real workout, and couple that with the clean and any other strongman movement, it is a super solid workout. So fun to do, looks cool. Most people can't do it, so it's good for views, good for variety and things like that. So moved on to farmer's carries here as I bump into the wall here, but reintroducing these, and I'm not counting the weight of the handle. I'm just going to count the weight of each individual handle that I weigh. So 90 pounds right now. I'm going to work back up to this. I will start using the belt and then grips when my grip cannot manage. Sometimes with deadlifts and doing other stuff, the grip can get worn down. You can tear your hands. And just slow and steady, consistent. Sometimes I will do these kind of running just to kind of, make it a little bit more difficult or mix it up a little bit. So going to keep running with these. So this should be, that's a good amount of weight there. That's, I believe, 140 in each hand. Yeah. And so just moving along here. I'm going to try to film these where I'm not, getting everyone's weight in the gym, but I mean, it is turf. So that is where you're supposed to do them. So a lot of people don't use the turf correctly and are not doing farmer's carries correctly. Like, you're not going heavy enough. If you do 100-pound dumbbells, it's not the same thing. I mean, you kind of want the maneuverability of the handles where it's a little bit more unbalanced and you have to stabilize more, and my traps definitely feed these when I'm working out. So it's a good feeling. Combine that with deadlifts and everything else, it's a pretty fun movement. So but another angle here. I just do back and forth, count that as like a single rep, and just kind of go from there. So it's been good amount of a year or two since I've done these consistently, so I'm starting low and then building my way back up, and then we'll see what we can do. I'm not trying to kill myself with these. I don't want to impede my other workouts, so I'm just trying to find a good balance, get in the extra variety, and I feel like it just makes you a more well-prepared athlete doing these sort of exercises and stuff like that. So breakdowns will be coming with a little bit more intention, so these, I could definitely control my stability a little bit more. But stay tuned. These strongman workouts should get interesting. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using Wet Shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.